Hey there, gamer guys and gals. This is Animus Standalone, and it was developed and published by 10 Birds, which is a small 7-team development crew. You can grab this right now for $9.99. This is the Xbox version. I was really excited to dive into this, being a huge Dark Souls fan. And when I fired up the game and saw these beautiful little cutscenes here telling a little bit of the story, I got even more excited. Where it kind of turned though is when the game starts. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying it's a bad game at all. I enjoyed lots of it, but there was things that it didn't meet the Dark Souls standards for me in a lot of areas. But it also does. It's kind of hard to explain, but I'm going to do my best to do so. You can see here, if you love the combat of Dark Souls and you love the weaponry, I think you're really going to enjoy the fights and the boss fights. You know, it definitely meets it in that area, and in some parts exceeds it. The combat is really smooth and feels good, and you find a lot of cool weapons that you can upgrade, and they'll have elemental damage that'll work better on certain bosses. So in that way, it makes you think a lot more. The elemental damage really comes into play in this one. You know, some people you're going to struggle with, but then when you find the right weapon, you're going to get through it. And you'll feel accomplishment there, and you'll feel the fun. Even though some of the bosses are repetitive, you'll fight some of them more than once. But where it doesn't meet the standards for me was in the exploration. Uh, like in Dark Souls, you know, you have a huge map, and you struggle to get through each area. And when you get to the next area, it's something new and fresh, and you just feel like rewarded, you know, by a new area, new enemies, and a new boss. This is totally different. This goes by days. You have a set amount of missions per day, and there'll be side quests, around 15 side quests as well, to loot, you know, and to upgrade your stuff. Like all the weapons are upgradable, your character's upgradable, uh, and you'll find like tons of cool loot. But the exploration just wasn't there for me. You know, it's you'll see a lot of the same enemies. The maps don't really change. So in that in that aspect, it really just fell kind of short for me. I kind of dreaded to do the review because I didn't want to say negative things, but I have positive things to say as well. Like I said, with the combat, it's smooth, it's fun. Uh, Occasionally, you do run into some new enemies, and that feels fun. But I kind of feel like you run into the same ones a little bit too much, and you run into the same looking areas. Uh, I think I would have rather had a actual open world map instead of the days. You get 4 days, and that's like the difficulty goes up on each day, and in that way, it really didn't do it for me. Every other way, though, the combat, like the upgradings you see here, you can upgrade your character, their skills, and you know you can upgrade the weapons, and that all that feels good and it feels fresh, and I enjoyed that aspect of it. But as I continued to play the story and to play the same looking areas over and over, and fight the same enemies over and over, it just really kind of started to feel repetitive, and it didn't feel rewarding. Especially when I would see a boss that I've already fought before, and then I'd have to fight him again. But there is a lot of cool ones too, though. Don't get me wrong. I think some people are really going to enjoy this one. That like just figuring out boss fights and you know figuring out what weapon's going to work better on them. You know, I had a lot of fun with some of these. And you can also get NPC characters to help you fight some of these bosses, even though most of the time you won't need them. And another way that I kind of felt let down is that you can die and you can use an item to just come back to life, like as a continue, and the enemy doesn't get its health back or anything. It's just like I don't know, it just seems kind of simple in that way. I kind of didn't like that aspect. I would have rather just died and had to find a better way to beat them instead of getting that extra help. You don't have to use that though, so that's up to you. I really enjoyed the sword that you see here. I used this the most of the game, and one I got pretty early. But like I say, it's got cool weapons. It's got some cool enemies, even though they're kind of repetitive. I think some people are really going to enjoy this more than others. Me, I had a good time with it, but I wasn't like blown away. Like me playing it through one time was enough. It's not one that I'm going to go back over. And if you know me, I've played Dark Souls and I've beaten it probably 20 times. Just my game I play when I want to just relax and chill and to have an experience where I don't have to me, it's stress free anymore. The first time I played it, it wasn't stress free, but I know it's so good now that it's just one of my relaxing games. Uh, you have a power attack you can do, like, but it's kind of hard to land sometimes. And you also have like button combinations, like you'll see at the bottom, like B B B, and that'll give you like a stronger attack, and that'll come in handy too. I like all that. I like all those aspects, but it's just the exploration just didn't do it for me. I didn't like the days thing. I would have liked it better if it was a complete world. But I'm not giving it a bad score. I still enjoyed it a lot. I'm giving it a 6 out of 10. I think it's a good game. It's just not great. I think it's a really good game for a small team. I think they did a really good job for it being a small team, and I think a lot of people is going to enjoy it more than did. So check it out, find out for yourself. Let me know what you think in the comments. Thanks for watching, guys. 6 out of 10.